All right, so apparently Eddie Alvarez is in talks to leave the UFC. He already is a free agent, so that's not even talks, but he is basically negotiating with one championship. The CEO of One Championship tweeted last week, not yet last week, I'm sorry, tweeted yesterday that, I'm about to sign a big athlete. Any guesses? Apparently, the rumor is that it's Eddie Alvarez. This is horrible for Eddie Alvarez. So Eddie has fought in he's fought everywhere. I mean, he's fought in all of the different promotions, right? Pride, Dream, Bellator, Rebney's Bellator. Now he's at the UFC. It's just, this is what I will say about this. Eddie Alvarez really climbed his way to the top. He really climbed his way all the way to the top. And when I say the top, all the way to the UFC, not just the UFC, he was able to get that championship belt. He was able to get the belt. He was a champion. And for some reason, something like that, like when you get there, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like he should have retired in the UFC. It would have been nice to see him retire in the UFC. I don't think it does anything for his legacy for him to continue to fight overseas. Whatever the second leg of his life is going to be, he needs to build that now. He needs to build it now. He needs to start letting the sunset. So there's something called a sunset clause in every management contract. So he needs to let the sun set on his MMA fighting career. Just let the sun set on it. And then he needs to be building something else. He needs to be like rotating things so that he can spin his MMA fighting career into maybe MMA coaching, right? Maybe analyst work, maybe a podcast, maybe something. He needs to talk to some of these guys who have done it. He needs to talk to the Chael Sonners. He needs to talk to the Brendan Schaubs. And Brendan Schaub is a great one to talk to because Brendan Schaub, not charismatic at all to me. Like, he doesn't have that Chael Sonnen, he doesn't have that charismatic kind of way about him, in my opinion. I know a lot of people listen to him, a lot of people love him, but if anybody had told me that this is who Brendan Schaub would be back when I was seeing his ass get KO'd crazy back in UFC, I'd have been like, hell no. I'm shorting that one. I put a big time short on that. I would never go long on that idea. I never would have believed it. So if Brendan can do it, Eddie for sure can do it. Eddie Alvarez definitely can do it. Eddie Alvarez could do a podcast. I know there's so many MMA podcasts out there, with the stars doing their own podcast. So, Eddie could do something different. He could do a fitness podcast. That guy looks like he was literally chiseled. Like somebody just sat there and banged it out and sculpted his shit. He's muscular, and it's not just that he is built in such a way like bodybuilders, right? They're not necessarily gaining weight for strength. They're gaining weight for the physique, what it looks like. They're making sure that it looks good. And Eddie Alvarez has managed to make his muscles look good and have them be useful at the same time. That is very difficult to do. So he could do a fitness podcast or something. I mean, he needs to spin it into something else. I can't support this one here. I mean, I understand if the guy wants to make his money, go ahead and make his money. He didn't get a chance to make that bread that you're supposed to make from a Conor fight, right? He didn't really get that bread that you're really supposed to get. Khabib just got 2 million. Nate before Eddie Alvarez got 2 million. But for some reason, Eddie Alvarez got $500,000 for that fight. That is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I think that was just enough money for him to pay off his house, probably. So I understand maybe the guy doesn't have that much money saved up, but spin it, brother. You gotta spin it into something else. I mean, Eddie Alvarez doesn't go out there and just light you up in a minute and then KO you. No, Eddie takes some punches. Eddie takes a little bit of damage every single fight. He's damaged up. He's bleeding. It's a bloody, bloodbath, dogfight war. I don't like this one bit. I really don't like it. I wish that Eddie Alvarez would just either stay in the UFC for a couple of fights and then just retire. And start spinning your MMA career into something else. You need to be able to figure out how can you generate revenue from the legacy that is Eddie the Machete Alvarez. That's my own personal nickname for him, Eddie the Machete Alvarez. Anyways, I've always been a fan of this guy. He hasn't stepped one foot out of line for me in terms of his fighting or his outside personality. Really respect him as a fighter. So I wish the best for him, but this news is brutal. I just don't like it one bit. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section. Is it tough for you guys to say sayonara to Eddie Alvarez? Are you happy to see him go to one championship though? I don't know. Anyways, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts in the comment section.